Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Is Bam Rodriguez going to steal the show from Jaron Ennis? That's the question. Because we know that it's kind of a unique situation to see two guys who are projected to take over the sport of boxing. Bam Rodriguez, Jaron Ennis. And to pair them up, I think it's, in the future, I think it will be seen as a dream card to have Jaron and Bam fighting on the same card, because I think both of those guys in a few years are going to be able to headline their own cards and, sell out, $50, $60, $100,000 arenas and stadiums, okay? They're not there yet, but they're going that direction. So maybe we're just going to get a little taste of what's to come. But to me, to have this pairing together right now, man, I just think it's amazing. And to see Eddie Hearn putting this card on, it's taking place on November 9th, right on the zone, but it's taking place in Philly. This is where Boots Ennis is supposed to come out after clipping Van der Sien, and come out now fighting Chikazi, like someone who he's already beat, but really put on a show and stomp his name in the boxing world. But the problem is, even if Boots puts on a dazzling display of boxing, power punching, counter punching, defense, everything that we know he can do, man, they got somebody running around here named Bam Rodriguez, who is what you call must-see TV. Now, I do think maybe this is Eddie Hearn's way to say, you know what, Bam Rodriguez, you're going to get the Mexican audience, okay? He's from right here in San Antonio. But with Boots Ennis trying to grow his profile, it may be good to have these two fighters fighting on the same cards, because now you could almost say you could have, like, in a negative way, cross-contamination. But this is a way where you can come and kind of, cross-pollinate their worlds and their fan bases to now Bam picks up some of Boots' fans and Boots picks up some of Bam's fans. And ultimately what Eddie Hearn does is he benefits because now the profiles of his fighters grow exponentially over time. Now, I don't know if this is Eddie Hearn's plan, but I just know, for me looking at it, I'm like, Boots better be careful, because Bam Rodriguez can steal the show, all right? With the amount of punches that he throws, with his ability, man, and even though his opponents are throwing a lot of shots, Bam is able to see those shots coming, to see the openings, and to exploit it. Plus, Bam is working with Robert Garcia, and we know any fighter who works with Robert Garcia, they come out of those camps being, 100 times better than when they went in, especially if they're coming from another trainer. Once you hook up with Robert Garcia, good things happen. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, depending on how this fight goes on November 9th, there is a whole lot of talk about Boots and Bam Rodriguez going to Saudi Arabia fighting on the 22nd. Now, what it looks like they could be trying to do is make a Golden Boy versus the Zone kind of card. What I mean is take a couple Golden Boy fighters and have them fight Jaron Ennis and Bam Rodriguez. Now, of course, the only fighter Golden Boy has really is Virgil Ortiz to fight Jaron Ennis. So it's possible that Jaron could bubble up to 154. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what is going to happen, but if Jaron Ennis fights Virgil Ortiz, I think Jaron Ennis beats him. I think he beats him. I think he knocks him out. Virgil Ortiz, I've said this a number of times. I'm so tired of saying this shit. But Virgil Ortiz, before the Rabdo, and when he was fighting at 147, I think Virgil Ortiz would have beat all them dudes, right? So I'm going to just throw that out there again. Anyone who follows the channel knows that, I've said that repeatedly, and I'm going to say it here again. I think he was that good that he would have beat all them guys. But that's not the case, okay? So let's just forget about that junior middleweight fight possibly taking place. I think Ennis would embarrass him. But then Rodriguez, they're gonna have to figure out somebody for him at 115 pounds because they're gonna want him to come back on the same fight card with Jaron Ennis, possibly on February 22nd. Now I keep telling you the name they keep throwing around is that goddamn Roman Chocolito Gonzalez, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Roman Gonzalez is still a problem, but he's not the guy he was years ago. I remember first seeing him fight. I was like, yo, this guy's like Mayweather, Pacquiao. It's like you take all the greatest fighters you've ever seen and put them together, and that's what you get. Just nonstop action, nonstop punches, defense, everything. I mean, he's just the complete package. But right now, I think Bam Rodriguez is just way too much for Chocolito. Even though Bam has 20 fights and Chocolito has 52 fights, 42 knockouts. I don't think it's going to be a case of, what's his name, Nonito Donaire, the old lion still coming here kicking young lions' asses. No, I think the young lion would tear a piece of flesh, a pound of flesh out of the old lion. So I don't think Chocolito should mess with him at all, man. But this is where it gets interesting because Boots only wants fights that mean something. But he seems to be 80% focused on money. It's like it's like the plan of action they had, right? It went from becoming undisputed to just getting as much money as possible. Now, I'm not saying he won't take an opportunity to unify, but it sounds to me that he's looking to make the most money possible. And to be honest with you, I can't really blame him, all right? But anyway, when it comes to Bam Rodriguez, he seems to be more on track of like, you know what? I want fights that mean something to me, and I want to come out here and continue to win belts and move up weight divisions and establish legacy. And I think that the change in mindset when it comes to Boots is because look at the roadblocks that he encountered. Boots should have already have picked up two additional belts at 147. The man hasn't been able to get the fights. I think Eddie Hearn could have put up a little more money to secure the Norman Jr. fight. Some disagree, but to me, Eddie's got the dough. Should have paid it. Okay, simple. But now with Stan Eunice and Barrios, they got other things going on. But the bottom line, it doesn't look like Boots is going to get those opportunities unless Eddie Hearn's really ready to pay big money. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you what, there are a lot of people who want to see Boots fight and they want to see Bam Rodriguez fight. But with Eddie Hearn, he wants to see those guys make a bunch of money. Because if they make a lot of money, well, you know who makes money too? It's Eddie Hearn, man. All right, so we'll see if Eddie Hearn can get some more unifications of what he can do out there. But for me, I'm just not so sure he's going to be able to get unifications for Bam or Jaron Ennis. I think you're going to see him try to fight the biggest name possible, and then throw Boots Ennis in with whatever name he can secure, and Bam Rodriguez in with whatever name he can secure. But I just think for Jaron Ennis, man, he just really has to stop and take a look at what's going on and really understand what Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's looking for the next big star over there on Matchroom. And Anthony Joshua, no matter who he fights or what he does, win, lose, or draw, he's going to always be a big draw in the UK. But what Eddie Hearn is longing for is the next big international star. Boots doesn't talk enough. Boots isn't articulate enough. Boots isn't worldly, okay? Now, Anthony Joshua is. He grew up out there in the UK. He's very diverse. Spent time in Nigeria because of his family. So AJ is more refined, more polished, right? He didn't have to work on AJ for much of anything. He was a turnkey operation. You just had to get him to big fights. Boots is going to need some cultivating. Bam Rodriguez, I think, is an easier project to get behind than Boots. Now, if I see it that way, I'm sure Eddie Hearn sees it that way. But Boots, I think, is going to run into some of Terrence Crawford's problems. What I mean is where he's not very vocal. He just wants to fight. He's not going to come out here and turn shit into a goddamn circus. The things that Eddie Hearn's going to want, like the Conor Ben Eubank Jr. bullshit. Like, that's what Eddie Hearn wants. He wants nonsense. He wants drama. Boots isn't that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Hearn is just kind of seeing how things play out, and if he makes his move to really get behind and put a strong push behind Bam Rodriguez, because you just never know, man. If Bam Rodriguez mess around and become the next Canelo out here, you know, he's a much smaller guy, but the way he fights, Bam Rodriguez, man, can get a lot of support from people all over the world. And the Latin community is huge, but outside of the Latin community too. But anyway, man, the bottom line here is Boots knows that belts don't feed you. He knows, man, it's all about the money and getting paid. So that being said, I hope Boots, when he gets this opportunity to right the wrong, and what I mean by that is he had Chikazian in that ring, and Boots allowed Chikazian to run all around. And in some spots, Chikazian made Boots look ordinary. He had Boots' head snapping back. So Chikazian can fight, but Boots is going to have to be able to cut that ring off and get to him. He can't afford to let Chikazian do to him what he did in that first fight, especially if Chikazian decides to up his work rate. And now you see Boots. Again, remember what I said. This boxing climate right now, if you're in a fight, you can't afford to be out-thrown. You're talking about somebody outlanding you. Okay, cool. He lands 25 shots, you land 17, right? You throw 40 punches, he throws 70, right? The fact that he's throwing 70, he's out-throwing you, he's outworking you, he's landing less, but the perception is going to be that someone is doing more than what you're doing. And that's what Boots can't afford to happen to him, to where he's getting out-thrown. But that being said, we got to wait and see what happens. One thing we know for sure, ain't too many people out-throwing no Bam Rodriguez. Bam Rodriguez letting his hands go from the first second of the first bell to whenever that fight ends. Simple. Anyway, keep cool. I'm looking forward to this. Still not too excited about Boots fighting Chikazian, but I'm excited to see what Eddie Hearn's going to do and the kind of crowd that they attract by having Boots and Bam on the same card. I think this is just an experiment by Eddie Hearn. You know what? Let's see what happens. But man, if he can use those two, because that's what they do in boxing, right? You get the real big name fighter, you put all the talent on the undercard, and you allow them to grow their profile, grow their careers, fighting on the undercards of the big names. You've seen it happen with Floyd and Canelo. Boxing's so kind of a little bit different these days, so you know Canelo's kind of doing his own thing, but you see these guys get an opportunity to put certain people on the undercards. But let's see what the future holds. But anyway, Jaron's got to perform, because he got somebody who's coming out there, man, all gas, no brakes, and he looking to get in that ring and leave not just with an L. He's looking to take somebody's life if he gets the opportunity. That's Bam Rodriguez. Anyway, keep cool. Shout out to the veteran 7 continents. Yo, good luck to Boots Ennis, but he's got to get that guy out of there in spectacular fashion. If not, man, he's just gonna run into more, scrutiny, more people complaining about him, and just more headaches on social media, because they're gonna tear him, they're gonna rip him a new one. You know what I'm saying? So Boots is gonna have to do something spectacular this fight, and he better not be getting binged up how Van der Sien was touching him. He can't afford that. People want to see Boots perform to his potential. And maybe Boots is performing to his potential. Maybe people have created a potential for Boots that doesn't exist. Maybe his potential is what we're seeing, not what we think we should see. But only time will tell, right? Anyway, keep cool in the breeze.